Hey, I'm gonna make a video on this channel, I guess. I got invited, and I'm really glad because I was getting kind of bored, um, in general. So, I guess I got some questions, for this week. I don't know who actually, let me check. They are from, oh, they're from Berta. Okay. So, what advice would you give to someone who hasn't yet begun their transition but is desperately wanting to? I wrote a few things for this. Um, I said do some reading and watching. There's a lot of good books and material online that you can read that will prepare you um, to transition and let you know what different things you'll experience or the experiences of others, and you know maybe give you some new attitudes about gender that you might not have thought about. I've read a few books. A couple of them were not good and not helpful. Other ones were. So it's a lot of trial and error when you start out. In terms of watching, there's different things, YouTube videos, different media, and that was where I first started. I first started on YouTube, and I found Karmatic Charlotte on YouTube, and she talked to me for like years, and she still talks to me, and that was she really helped me, kind of just through giving me support and things like that. Let's see. I wrote, understand the physical, social, emotional risks, and I just wrote some examples. And the thing is with these risks is you have to realize that they're not always, just because there's some violence and hatred against trans people doesn't mean that all of my experience is going to be like, the Gwen Arajo story. Like, they're not all going to be these over-the-top movies where it's just like, oh, well, everywhere you go, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you, and it's going to be this horrible thing. In reality, it's not like that. I've had very few problems. I think everyone has a different experience, and there's a lot of different things. Violence, homelessness, depression, anxiety, loss of friends and family, stress on your kidneys, liver, heart, loss of muscle from the hormones. Understand what the hormones do, and also understand the different changes you're going to go under, in terms of, your social life, the people you surround yourself with, where you're housed, make sure you have safe housing and you have access to medical care and all these different things. Because even if you aren't transitioning with a doctor, you still need to, dental care and all those different things. And a lot of times, like one of the things I did at my old internship was I wrote a proposal that just got passed a month or two ago. And that was for, there's an exclusion on the student insurance policy, and I wrote a proposal about how that's discriminatory and all this stuff, and it got passed. So you want to make sure that you have all those things. I wrote Go Slowly. It's really important. A lot of people feel like, rushing and all those things, and I think that you really need to take time to think about it, and then, at each step do a lot of thinking. And the other one I wrote was, don't let anyone tell you what your identity is or has to be. I had a lot of people telling me, you should be looking for a different celebrity to base your identity on, and like be like that woman, and it was like, this is nonsense. And I heard that from a lot of women, a lot of cisgender women. And also, if you're asking someone about a trans identity who has no experience with trans people, like a woman, you're not going to get correct answers. You're not going to get answers that are helpful. That's in my opinion. If they don't know anything about trans people, and you're just like, well, what is it like to be a woman? That's not necessarily going to help you all the time. I've had a lot of bad advice from people that were claiming to have a lot of knowledge on the subject when they didn't. Um, and I wrote again, just like Berta said, be safe. Get your blood tested every 3 to 4 months during the first 2 years, and then every 6 to 8 months after. And consult a doctor about your organ function and everything. If you don't have a doctor, just try to find one. Free clinics and stuff like that. Because even if you aren't seeing a doctor and getting prescribed hormones by a doctor, you should really be testing your organs, because anything could happen. You might have other problems unrelated to the hormones that could have an effect. So there's that. The second question was, what is your view on gender as a whole? And I had a really difficult time answering this. I wrote, the first thing was, I have a love-hate relationship with my gender, mainly because of the outside influences on it, and it's very difficult sometimes. I'm kind of queer at some points, and I'm kind of, I'm just Jessica, I can't be anyone else. That's all I know how to do. And it's, it's this three-dimensional, shape, maybe four. It's really complicated, and there's a lot to it. And I think that, the entire system of gender is oppressive to everyone. The current system of gender for everyone. And I think that is some more than others. People that are feminine identified, there's a lot more hatred towards them, including cisgender women. And, feminine identified men. So yeah, there's a lot less hate towards cisgender men. I think we can all agree on that. And those who don't experience a trans identity, they're gonna have a lot easier time. It's hard to compare you having a trans identity to a cisgender man or woman, because there's a lot less oppression towards them, and attitudes towards them, where even if you pass as a trans person, you're still going to feel that, hate. If you're, even if you're passing, no one knows, but you're just watching TV or listening to people talk about, trans people, or talk about people that, trans people, but they're perceiving them as whatever. It's still going to affect you. And I think, gender as a whole is a very difficult concept to grasp. And I'm still in the beginning stages of really being able to explain a lot of aspects of gender. And I think that, I'm pretty high up there in terms of being able to explain it. Because in the beginning of this process, I really was, I had a very difficult time with it. So, let's see. The last question was, do you think people's attitude towards sexuality and gender will ever change? And I wrote that I'm not sure, and I said, until we abolish these current systems of hierarchy toward gender and sexuality, nothing's going to change. I think, the new marriage law in New York that we just got, I don't, necessarily see that as a completely positive thing, mainly because, you had to fight for those rights in a system that doesn't accept you. But now they're like, okay, yeah, now you can come in, but now you're a minority. You're an institutional minority. And that's will always be in the system. It's happened in every other civil rights movement, where you have to fight to get into a system when you shouldn't abolish the system in the first place, because you shouldn't have to fight to be a part of society. And that is really, really difficult to grasp sometimes. I think on a last note, let me think for a minute. I think that's one thing that I'm going to school for. I'm going to be a lawyer, and I want to make a difference for people and help represent our community. I'm not really sure what direction I'm going to take that in, but I don't see any time in my lifetime it being, I don't see any time in my lifetime where, trans people will be fully accepted in society. I don't know. I don't have a time machine. I can't see in the future. So, I think that's all I have for now. This is a, kind of a awkward first video. I've been up all night. This is my new haircut that I just got out of bed with. I cut all my hair off and I got like highlights and stuff in New York City. And normally you're supposed to comb it and wash it in the morning, but I didn't do that. So yeah, have a great day, or whatever, and listen to me babble. So thank you.